Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And today I have probably the biggest book haul that I have ever done on this entire channel, and I'm so excited about it. I don't know when I'm gonna read these books, but I have to tell you that my goal is to read 8 books a month for this entire year so that I can actually finally reach my goal of 100 books on Goodreads for this year. So go check out my Goodreads, friend me over there. I accept everybody's friend requests on Goodreads. I love Goodreads, I'm absolutely obsessed with it. And I am 2 books away from my goal of 8, and it is the last day of January, so I've got to get to reading. But I do think that I'm gonna achieve it today. So I have a couple hours left and not much left on my 2 books that I have to finish before the end of the day to make it to my 8 books for the month. All right, so I even have a list here, you guys, and on my list I have, hold on a second, 16 Audible books that I have purchased, and I'm gonna explain to you why in just a second. But before I get into that, I wanna do, hold on a second, I wanna do some of physical books that I got, and I'm really excited about it. So I have some cheesy ones in here, and I have some things that I got sent. I have one thing I got sent, and some other things. But before I get into that, I want to say, if you don't know, which you don't know is a lot, I have a book club that I run with my friend Mel. Hey Mel, how are you? And we are doing a year of true crime over there. And last month we read The Stranger Beside Me by Ann Rule about Ted Bundy. We had so much fun. It was the largest participation we have ever had in a live stream discussion. It was phenomenal, and I was so excited. We had such a good time about it, and we're like reading, you know, all of these different threads, listening to podcasts, watching, you know, interviews about these people. So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be more than just the books. So if you want to participate in the whole experience, come over there and check it out. And this month we are reading Truman Capote's In Cold Blood, which I went and picked up my copy over. I'm going to listen to it on Audible, but I'm also going to read it. Not both, but I'm going to like go back and forth. I got this at Half Price Books. This is like the newest cover that they have of it. There's an old cover too. So if you want to join here, I'll read it to you. On November 15th, 1959, in the small town of Holcomb, Kansas, 4 members of the Clutter family were savagely murdered by blast from a shotgun held a few inches from their faces. There was no apparent motive for the crime, and there were almost no clues. As Truman Capote reconstructs the murder and the investigation that led to the capture, trial, and execution of the killers, he generates both mesmerizing suspense and astonishing empathy. In Cold Blood is a work that transcends its moment, yielding poignant insights into the nature of American violence. I know the light is so bad in here, you guys. It's making me look blue like that girl from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I don't know why, but I was going to wait till tomorrow. It doesn't matter. So anyway. So I'm excited about reading this. Now, if you don't know about this book, this was supposedly like the first nonfiction investigative book ever, and also the very first true crime book. And Harper Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, was Truman Capote's really good friend. He was actually Dill in To Kill a Mockingbird, and she helped him do the research for this book. So there's a movie out there. We're gonna live stream like a movie night and watch it together. So if you want to participate in the book club, there you go. The 15th of the month, we announce what the next book will be for the next month. All right, the next thing is, I just picked this up at the grocery store last night. I'm trying to read a James Patterson book every month. And I'm still reading Quickie from last month, so I don't know that that's going to end up happening. But I picked up James Patterson's 50/50 by Candace Fox. Well, it's by James Patterson and Candace Fox. I mean, listen, you guys, you know these books are not really written by James Patterson anymore, right? They're not. But they're quick reads, and this one's about a girl whose brother is like a serial killer or something. He's convicted of killing some people, convicted killer, so anyway, it goes back and forth between her. It doesn't matter. It's a James Patterson book. So if you want to read this with me, I'm going to be reading this in the month of February, 50/50 by Candace Fox. It's the brand new James Patterson book that is out on paperback. I mean, there's always at any given time like 15 James Patterson books out, right? Okay. Okay, then the next, I'm saving some of my favorites to the very end. So I was sent this by the publisher. It is The Last Voyage of Poe by Ali Condé. And it says, who do you become when you have nothing left to lose? This is an arc. I never get arcs, but, oh, I mentioned on here I was trying to get an arc for the new, what's his face? The guy that wrote the Thomas Harris book. And they actually responded to me, and they said they didn't know if they were going to send any out, but if they were going to, they would contact me closer to the date of the book release. So, okay, who do you become when you have nothing left to lose? There is something Poe Blythe, the 17-year-old captain of the Outpost's last mining ship, once far more than the gold they tear from the Serpentine River, revenge. Poe has vowed to annihilate the river raiders who robbed her of everything 2 years ago, but as she navigates the treacherous waters of the Serpentine and realizes there might be a traitor among her crew, she must also reckon with whom she has become, who she wants to be, and the ways love can change and shape you, even and especially when you think it's all is lost. This is not really a Peter Monn book, is it? Okay. So anyway, but thank you so much for sending it to me. I really appreciate it. I never get sent the books I want to get sent. I always get sent books I would never read. But if you guys would like to read it, it is The Last Voyage of Poe by Ali Condi. I might give it a try. I might. Okay. I'm trying to step outside my comfort zone this year. Okay. Then the next book is... I got so many people telling me about this when I started mentioning it on my vlog that I was really excited because I bought the To Kill a Mockingbird graphic novel. I'm trying to buy a lot of graphic novels in 2019, but I want to buy like the graphic novels that are like have been books before. I have Anne of Green Gables. I can't remember what else, but I'm so excited about this one, you guys. This one is beautiful. Are you ready? And it is Anne Frank's diary, the graphic adaptation, and it was... None of these are very expensive. I mean, expensive, but not for like tabletop books. And I'm going to keep them over here in the corner of my book over there, or at my table over there where I keep some books. And I've had two friends come by and they saw this on the counter because I was doing it for a haul. And they were like, that book is beautiful. So it is The Diary of Anne Frank, but it's all like as a graphic novel. And it's very, very cool. And I'm really excited. And I can't remember the last time that I read The Diary of Anne Frank. It's been forever. So I'm excited about reading this again. Okay. And then... I have to tell you. So I am a huge, huge, huge fan of Lynda Barry. And Lynda Barry wrote the Down the Street Kids books, okay? About two sisters named Marlis and Mabon. And years and years and years ago, my friends and I were obsessed with these cartoons, these comic strips, because they would tell a story. Lynda Barry would tell a very endearing story about these kids as they were growing up. They didn't fit in, they were different, they were poor. They were just very relatable, you know, characters. But they always were very funny too, you know, because it was so, like, the truisms of life were so just rampant in her comics. And then she also wrote a book called Cruddy that I read years ago, and I want to reread, and somebody sent it to me, and I'm so excited. That was a novel that she wrote. And then she also wrote The Good Times Are Killing Me. And I think I read that last year or the year before. I got it at the library, and that was fantastic. But every time I get on Amazon and I look, I truly am blue in this light, this ring light. Isn't that crazy? Okay, but every time I get on Amazon and I look for Lynda Barry books, these books always come up. And that is the Unlovable series by Esther Pearl Watson, okay? And they actually look a lot like, ooh, I can't show that one. That's when she's in her prom dress and she's almost coming out. But they very much, here, let me show you a picture of Tammy Pierce because she's hilarious. Okay, so here she is on her phone. They very much look like Lynda Barry books, and it's about this girl, and her name is Tammy Pierce, and she thinks she's cooler than she is, and she's kind of a loser, and I so relate to her, and she's in high school. She's a class of, I think 19, it says at the end of this one, hold on a second. But the whole idea, it's a class of 92, I think. Class of 90, yeah, she put class of 92 rules. And I was a class of 1990, so I totally relate to this because it's so much like my friends and I in high school and the music we listened to and the things we did, and all these cultural references are hilarious, right? You can get these on Amazon. They're not super expensive, but they're a little pricey. So I finished the first one just a couple days ago, and as I finished it, I was so excited because the second volume came in the mail, and I'm halfway through it, you can see. It is so, so good, and the third volume is on its way. And here, I'll read you the back of it in case you want to know. These are great graphic novels about the idea. Here it is. Here she is writing her journal in a bathroom at a gas station. Busted, it says. Based on a found diary, in 1995, Mark Todd and Esther Pearl Watson, so they are the ones that wrote the book together. She wrote it and he did the cartoons and stuff. I think he helped her color it or something because it says over here. In 1995, Mark Todd and Esther Pearl Watson drove from Vegas to San Francisco. In the woman's restroom of a gas station, Esther found this diary. And then it says, this book belongs to Tammy Pierce. And I love it. These are so good. I'm like really sad there's only 3 in the series and they're going to end. But so those are all of my physical copy books that I have. That doesn't look like a whole lot, does it? Okay, but can I just tell you that we're at 9 minutes and 39 seconds? and I still have 16 books to go through. So I'm just gonna kind of like go through these quickly, because a lot of them I don't know anything about. So I'm just gonna talk about them, show the, I had to go in and look up pictures for each one of these. I work hard for you guys. I had to look up pictures for each of these books. So the first book that I got, and okay, so here's the deal. So Audible has these great sales every once in a while, right? And if you're on Audible, I love Audible, I'm obsessed with Audible. People always ask me, they're like, why don't you have an Audible sponsorship? Because they won't give me one. I've tried several times. I'm never going to get one, and that's fine. I'm cool with it. But I love to spend, I love to spend my money on Audible because I'm constantly over there. I cannot tell you how many books I have on Audible in my Audible library. I love Audible so much. I'm obsessed with it. And to me, it's very much like having a bookshelf or anything. You know, it's like, even if I don't listen to them for a year or two, I still have them, right? So I'm obsessed with Audible. I love Audible. I think everybody should have it. There are also different apps that you can get, and through the library, Overdrive I know is one of them that you can get. There's different kinds of apps that you can go and get credits for free and things. So there are other ways to listen to audiobooks, but you don't have to do this. Okay, the first one that I listened to, or the first one that I got, oh, this is what I was going to say. So there's always these great sales on Audible, right? And they do a daily deal too. So every day there's like a book that's on sale for $2.95 or $3.95, sometimes $1.95. And I have found a lot of really great books on there that I would never have read had they not been on the daily deal. For example, one of them was Alan Eskin's The Life We Bury. It is hands down probably one of the most fantastic thrillers I have ever read in my entire life. And I'm a huge Alan Eskin's fan now. So anyway, and I have a couple of his other books I've already bought on Audible like before. But I find books all the time on the daily deal. Well, the day that I was doing my live stream, which would have been Sunday, they were having this huge 24-hour sale where they put back up a lot of the daily deals. So, because once the daily deal is over, it doesn't just stay that price. It goes back to its normal price. So they put them back up there. I ended up buying like 11 books or something that day, and I had bought some previously anyway with credits that I had. So I'm just going to go through and tell you guys all the books I have. 16 books. Okay. The first one is The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. This is the sequel. Well, it's part of a trilogy. It's the second part to the Truly Devious books. I'm halfway through it right now. This is my 7th out of 8 books for this month. It is so good, you guys. It doesn't disappoint. You know, I'm always like really, like when there's like 3 books in a series, Sylvain Neuvel, like Sleeping Giants, I did not like the second one. I have the third one. I bought that on Audible. I haven't listened to it yet. The Rick Yancey, the Fifth Wave series, I loved the first one. The last 2 I thought were horrible. So I'm always really worried when there's 3 books in a series. Maureen Johnson does not disappoint, you guys. It is so good. The second one, The Vanishing Staircase, is just as good as the first one. So if you've read it, I'm telling you, it's just as good. And I'm not going to tell you any more than that. Then the next one that I got, and this was a book that was like recommended to me, and it was called The Cadaver King and the Country Dentist, A True Story of Injustice in the American South by Radley Balco and Tucker Carrington. And I don't really know much about this, but this is about a man that was exonerated from prison after 30 years of serving for a crime that he did not commit. I think it was a murder. And it was about a county coroner who basically just manipulated the whole system. And it has a foreword by John Grisham, very similar to The Innocent Man. It has a lot to do with like racial prejudice in the South and the whole criminal justice system and things like that. It is being recognized as probably one of the most important reads of 2019. Please go check it out. I've heard great things about it. Then the next book that I got was An American Marriage by Tayari Jones, I think. This was an Oprah book, and I've heard so many of my friends, like when I'm out like talking to like friends of mine that don't read very much, I'll be like, what's a great book that you've read in the last year? If you're my friend, this is a question I ask a lot. Like, oh, what's a book I should read? Or what's a book, you know? And many of my friends have read An American Marriage, friends of mine that don't even read, and said that it was fantastic. So when I saw it on the Daily Deal sale, I thought, okay, I gotta try it. The next one is The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. I'm a huge Michael Crichton fan. I am so devastated that he passed away years ago. If you guys don't know, Michael Crichton was also the originator of ER, the TV show. Fantastic writer, wrote Jurassic Park, wrote Sphere. I mean, I've read everything by him with the exception of 2 or 3 of his books. Congo was great. Sphere was actually my favorite of his. Disclosure, which they made into a movie. They made a lot of his movies or books into movies. highly researched, so well done. He was kind of the Dan Brown of his time, and his research was just absolutely phenomenal. And now there really aren't that many of his books, you know, out there. They came out with another one of his books that he had started writing or something like that, like a year later. It's about gold mining or something. I'm not super interested in reading that. But I have not read Pirates Latitude, I think is one, which is like a nonfiction book. I haven't read The Andromeda Strain, and I haven't read The Great Train Robbery. So those are 3 books of his that I still have left and I'm going to read. So, yeah. Okay, and then the next one is Christopher Moore, A Dirty Job. And this is like a series of books about like a Grim Reaper. And I actually have like 2 or 3 of them over there. I started buying them because it looked like something that I really would like to read. God, what was the TV show called? Now I can't remember it, but I was obsessed with this TV show, and it was about this girl that gets hit with a toilet seat from outer space, like on the space shuttle. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It was on Showtime, I think. It was 2 seasons, and then they made a movie to finalize everything that happened. Why can't I remember what that movie? Dead something, but it was so good, you guys. And one day I was like reading this article about it, like as I wanted them to bring it back, and so somebody had written an article about it, and I was seeing if it was going to come back or not, and they said that it was very similar to these books. So I've never read one of his books, so I got this one and I'm gonna read it. Okay. The next one is Admiral William H. McGavin, retired. Make Your Bed, Little Things That Can Change Your Life and Maybe the World. And I have this over there, and I want to talk about it a little bit on my Peterisms videos when I start reading it, but I haven't read it yet. And I try to read at least one self-help book a month. And right now I'm currently reading 9 things successful people do that unsuccessful people don't. So anyway, I try to read something to, like, you know, improve myself on a monthly basis besides my recovery stuff, because I've been sober for 24 years, so I read a lot of recovery literature as well. But this one is supposed to be really, really good. I've heard it's a great graduation present, birthday present, things like that. And it's just like little things that he would, you know, he taught when he was in the military, and it's very simple. It's very a la Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, if you ever read that book. I've skimmed through it, but I'm going to listen to the audiobook. The next one is, this was on sale, and it was literally like $1.95, and it's like 4 hours, and that is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. It's one of my father's favorite books. He's given it to me, he's given copies of it to me like many times throughout the years. And I have like this little copy that I think is like an abridged version of it that I read, and I've read parts of it. I may have read the whole thing at one point. I don't really remember, honestly, so I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to the audio version of it. I retain information better when I listen, and this is a book that's so important to my dad that I would really like to listen to it and take it in fully. So that's what I am going to, and this one has a new foreword on it. Okay, and then the next one is Replay by Ken Grimwood. Okay, this is funny because this book never comes up in my videos because I rarely remember it. Replay by Ken Grimwood, which is really hard to find, and he's only written like 2 or 3 books. Another one he wrote was about dolphins, and then there was something else, I don't know. But anyway, it's considered science fiction. It's one of my probably literally top 5 books of life, honestly. I've recommended it to so many people. I have a copy that I will never loan anybody because I'm afraid that it'll go out of print and I won't be able to find it. It's about a guy that he, like, at the first 3 pages, he dies. And he wakes up like when he is, I think, like in junior high or something like that. And it just is him like reliving his life over and over and over. And basically trying to figure out like what is the purpose to all of this. And, you know, there's the life where he goes and, you know, becomes very wealthy. And I'm not ruining anything. I mean, like anything that you could possibly guess would happen, happens. And it's really a spiritual journey, but told in a science fiction kind of way. And it's fantastic. It's one of my favorite books. Okay, the next book is Kurt Vonnegut, Slaughterhouse-Five. It was on our book club reading list for this year. We didn't end up, because we changed everything, so we're not reading it. So I thought, I'm trying to make a dedication to reading some of the books like Joan Didion's The Year of Magical Thinking and Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow by John Green and Maureen Johnson. I'm talking so fast to get this video done because I'm like at the end. Okay, so I'm gonna read Slaughterhouse-Five because I've never read a Vonnegut book, and it was my mom's favorite author. And since we also had put it on the book club, in case anybody's bought it and they want to read it with me, I'm gonna read that sometime soon. Okay, The Troop by Nick Cutter. I've heard so many great things about this book. I've heard so many things about Nick Cutter. He's a fantastic thriller writer. Y'all know I love a good thriller, so I'm going to check this out. I heard it's very dark. Jillian McMillan, What She Knew. My best friend recommended this book to me. She said it was fantastic. This is kind of what Tanya, my best friend, always reads. A Man Called O by Frederick Bachman. Now, I read Frederick Bachman's Christmas Story. That was very depressing. Did you guys read that? It was very depressing. But I haven't read A Man Called O, and I've heard so many things about it. And he also wrote The One Town, Bear Town, or something like that. And I just heard great things about him, and I've never read a longer piece by him, so I want to read that. Dear Evan Hansen, I just haven't heard enough about, I've heard so much about this, it's a lot of books. I've heard so much about this book. It's also, I think, a play, and it's going to become a TV show, or it is a TV show, or something, I don't know. But it's about a kid, and this person that he's kind of friends with passes away, and then he becomes kind of, I don't know. So anyway, I heard great things about this book, and this has been on the bestseller list for weeks now, you guys. So I thought, well, it's one of the YAs that I haven't read, and I like to keep up with all of the YAs that are like, you know, on the bestseller list. So, ooh, okay. Speaking of all of the YAs that are on the bestseller list, I almost lost my phone. I read last month, no, it was this month. I read, hold on a second. Karen McManus, One of Us is Lying, which has been on the bestseller list for like 77, 78 weeks now. I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it. So, I got You Can Keep a Secret, which was her next book, which I thought was a spinoff, but it has nothing to do with that whatsoever. But it's still a mystery thriller, and I'm very excited about it. I am loving all of these YA mystery thrillers. Like, I just cannot get enough of them. And if you'd like to see what I thought about certain books, go check it out. I'm doing a review for every book that I read this year, unless it's a book that I just don't think anybody would care about, and then I probably won't do a review of it. Okay, then I got Bluffed by Michael Curtis. Now, I have been sent to this book by the publisher because I did a review of What She Did Wrong or something like that. I got it on the Daily Deal, his book last year. It was one of the best thrillers I have ever read in my entire life. It was so good, you guys. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, What She Almost Knew or whatever. Google Michael Curtis and What She something and it'll come up. But it was so good. And this one's about like a card dealer and like a magician or something like that. It's supposed to be really good. They actually, the PR like that got sent with it, I showed it on here. I showed it in an unboxing. They sent me like a couple decks of cards and stuff. It was really cool. Okay. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This is another one that Tanya recommended to me, and that is it. Oh my God, I can't believe it. 22 minutes, I made it through the whole book haul. That was huge. How am I going to listen to all those books? Oh, and I also bought the Harry Potter book that I'm like a month behind on now because I was supposed to read my January Harry Potter book and I didn't, so I don't know. I'll finish it by June or July. I'll finish this series. I'm just having so much fun reading other books right now that I didn't want to read it. And then I'm also wanting to get, so I want to ask you guys if you've heard of it. I think it's called The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock. Has anybody heard of this book? I heard it's great, but then like I got online and I looked and it was getting really bad reviews. And so I was like, has anybody read it? If you've read it, let me know. And the other book I want to know about, because I'm getting ready to go to Los Angeles and I want to read something that takes place kind of in Los Angeles. It's called Golden State. And it's kind of a dystopian book. So if anybody has read Golden State, will you let me know what you think in the comment section below? Those are the two books that I'm wanting to buy. And that is my ginormous book haul for the end of January. I don't know what I'm going to title this yet. But anyway, I love you guys. Let me know what you think about all those books. If you've read any of them, if they're good, if they're crap, what you think. So anyway, I love you guys and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.